We are live. Good morning, guys. We are
Good morning,
live.
everyone. Morning. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys. How is everybody doing? Welcome in. Hold on a second. I need to change something quickly. I'm going to change something very briefly. I'm going to do something quick. I have to do this first. And then hold on. Oh, wait, no. That's the wrong button. Welcome in, guys. Bear with me as I'm dealing with stuff right now, but I hope you guys are ready to dive into it. We have a lot to go over this morning. There's a lot of things to talk about, but I'm just trying to fix my screen capture here so it's on the right display. It's going to do a little bit of this for a second. Bam. There you go. All right, cool. We are ready. We are ready. Are you guys ready? That's the question. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Welcome in. We have some things happening pre-market, some strong names pre-market this morning. Mike's got a little bit of Scamazon on the watch list. I already questioned him on that one.
Oh yeah, we already have a few things that we're watching together. So let's see what happens today.
Let's see what happens. Anyways, 8:36 in the morning. Let's roll. So we are going to talk about, obviously, Econ did earnings reports, but we're not going to talk about that first. I want to go over just a little bit of an overview of our charts, what our game plan is for today's session. Yesterday's session was a demand hold, right? Here's the thing, right? My view is that any of you guys who were short yesterday, hopefully none of you did it at demand. Because if you did, you're just a conehead, right? That's all it was yesterday. Yesterday was a demand hold. It maintained key level of support. And all we did was move off of a demand into a supply. And even for myself yesterday, right? Remember we spoke about how important the 676 level was. All I did yesterday was, for me, I didn't get the short. All I did was long, right? And again, I hope that some of you guys were able to either not go short at demand or maybe even flip that, inverse that idea, and then perhaps take a long, right? And this was probably your best long side move yesterday was this demand hold, right? You could have longed it anywhere near 676, and if you did it multiple times, it just kept working, right? I probably should have traded more yesterday, but it's all right. Anyways, we obviously moved from a demand low back into a supply high, right? And the same thing that we spoke about yesterday is the same thing I'm going to speak about today, but in the exact opposite light, right? We are in supply now in the market, and we know this is supply because this is simply the Friday highs, right? So let's talk about that. Mike and I are going to dive into this in a minute. We'll go over the S&P supply here. We'll go over the QQQ supply. Obviously, it's a little bit further above us, right? Q supply around the 606.50 level, which is the Friday highs. We'll go over some other things here on the market. We'll go over Amazon, which I think individually is probably top watch for me as well. The reason why, and if you guys recall, we spoke about this in detail on that Tuesday session, right? About how Amazon will outperform if the market maintains. And Amazon, I can't quite say it outperformed that well, but it's outperforming now, right? And you're seeing some signs of strength this morning. So let's talk about Amazon this morning into this PDH here, okay? We'll go over some Appler, right? A little bit of Apple break about 260. 260 is still supply, but then obviously broke above 260 yesterday's session and gave you trend. So we'll talk about that today. We'll go over AMD, Nvidia. We'll go over some Meta. We'll go over a little bit of TGT this morning, maybe a little bit of other names as well, maybe Netflix as well. Netflix also finding some support. So let's see what we can do. Before we do anything though, guys, like the stream. Mike and I are here, right? All it takes is 2 seconds. Just hit the button. I don't know what it does. Does it help the algorithm? I'm not sure, but it's cool to see it. That's the only thing I ask for. Okay, so let's go into our econ data earnings reports, and then we'll jump back into our charts. Okay, so on the economic side this morning, today is Wednesday, February the 18th. This morning we have some data, right? 8:30 a.m. data is mostly what this is. Now, why is it saying 8:30 data 4 times in a row? I have no idea, but maybe that's just how important it is, right? So obviously 8:30 a.m. data came out about 9 minutes ago. Besides that, we also have our FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. And that is the focal point of today's session. FOMC minutes, 2 p.m. Be aware of that, right? And you've seen typically how FOMC sessions tend to be. For whatever reason, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but FOMC minutes is not an incredibly important data piece, but it does typically result in choppier sessions. Why? I don't know. Just take a look at it, and the data will back what up what I'm saying here. Okay. Thursday session in the pre-market, we have some data as well. Just be aware of that, and then 10 o'clock data as well. All right. So let's dive into our econ, or actually our earnings calendar for a second. The biggest thing tomorrow, guys, is Walmart WMT. That I think should be on everyone's radar. Walmart has been an absolute ripper recently, and I think this chart is just way overheated. It's just way overheated. Carvana, Mike, for you in the after hours, did you see that? CVNA? They report.
Yeah, they report today.
They report today. Yep, CVNA reports
Yes.
today, I believe.
Yeah.
What else do we have that's important? Nothing else here, guys. I mean, maybe eBay important. Yesterday you saw PanW. Nothing crazy, guys, on the earnings docket. Okay, so that being said, I think we can move on now. I'm going to let Mike kick off today's session with SPY.
Yeah, so as Brett already mentioned, first of all, can you guys hear me? I just want to do a mic check real quick.
Mike check.
I'm in Colombia. We're doing this live from Colombia right now. Mic check. How do you guys hear?
You have to wait like 2 seconds for them to actually comment. It's like those news
Yes,
those
sir.
newscasters.
All right, it looks good. Okay, perfect. All right, so as Brett already mentioned, right, SPY held demand yesterday. What is demand? It's 676. If we look at macro timeframes on SPY, we're going to see massive demand 676, massive supply 696. All right, the market right now, SPY especially, is stuck in this $20 range. Okay, and right now we're actually gapping back into a little bit of previous supply from last week, right? Friday. It happens to also be the ES 6900 level. So SPY 686 is supply today. We have to see how we react to that level, right? So 686, if we get above this, I will be looking for longs, right? ES 6900. If we start failing, I'll be looking for shorts. But for now, the market's not going to make a big move until we either break above 696 or below 676.
Yeah, exactly. I'll say this in my way here. I mean, obviously, like that's basically the same thing I'm saying. But yesterday's session was a demand hold, right? I mean, even for myself, when we got into these lows, there was a moment where I looked at it and I said, I think this is going to break, right? I think this is going to break. And you look at these candles, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say here in this live stream this morning, is you look at a candle like this, and you look at a candle like this in a demand yesterday, and even for myself, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, I think this is going to break. But levels trump everything else. Levels trump every thought you have in your head is wrong until the level actually breaks, until the level actually reacts. And you saw that yesterday's session. Look at this incredible pin bar. Go to the 2-minute time frame, right? Probably even more data here. Look at this, a failure to go higher here off demand. And the next thing you know, out of nowhere, from left field comes in a big fat green candle, right? Just to say, hey, you're wrong about that. And look, this is why levels are so important, right? And again, like where would you have longed this? I'm not saying you would have longed it here at 1032. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm saying you could have longed it here at 1044. On Friday or Tuesday session, I didn't long the lows every single time either, right? If you know where I actually executed long, I executed long here, the first trade, right? On that entry right there. And the second trade entered long over here in this candle, right? So again, in none of these trades was I actually buying the exact bottom, right? But I think the actual best trade yesterday's session was here at 1044, right? Where it flipped from a demand hold, right? From a little bit of a kind of a flimsy demand hold into, oh, wait, this is actually defending here, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this right now, why am I talking about a trade? Why am I talking about yesterday's price action today? Because if you look at today's session, right? Yesterday we opened in demand. Today we're opening in supply. And so you want to be a cone head. Well, don't be a cone head, because if you see us reject supply today at 686 and you start buying, calls there, then sure, it may work, right? But why not just wait for 686.50 to break? Because if it does actually break, you'll get the upside move that you want, right? So here's what I'm going to say. If you want to go long today, you want to go long above the Friday highs. That's all it is. For me, that's my best possible long side move today. Above these highs, if you can see us break and hold above it, then sure, upside move in the market. As of right now, though, we're in supply. And if you see us do the same thing I just showed you on smaller time frames here, from here in demand, and you see that, hey, that price action transfer over here in a supply, then there's no reason to go long in the market, because the market's just simply showing you rejections of supply, right? So more importantly, where do we go if we break with supply? So above the Friday's highs here, see Friday's highs, the breakdown level of Thursday, and then obviously pre-market highs this morning, all lining up in the same place. Where do we go to if we break with these highs? Well, then my view is that if we do break with the highs here, we see us move back into Thursday's level, which is like 693, right? 693, 692.50. This area over here is where we're going to. So again, we're in supply this morning. Is it bearish? Yes, for me, this is bearish. We're just in supply. But if we can break above it, then we flip to a bull thesis. We can look for upside. That's my thought process this morning. On the ES chart, Mike, probably the same thing for you.
Yeah, it's the ES 6900.
Yeah, right. You can see it. It's the same thing, right? So look at what Mike's talking about. It's 6900 ES. So for me, it's like 68.97. Okay, so basically 6900. You want to round it up, and I think that's the right idea. So basically, draw a zone here, and this is your supply today. And you know that this is an area you probably don't want to be long into because this is an area where you possibly have supply rejections. If you reject supply here, where are we going to? Look, let's just be logical about this. Where are we going to? Either we see this today, boom, 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 or we see maybe a little bit of this today. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Now, I will say something important. Today is an FOMC minutes day. FOMC minutes days typically result in choppy action. But if this were a regular trading session, which hopefully it acts like a regular trading session, then my expectations are scenario 1 or scenario 2. And right now, what's the leading idea here? The leading idea here is scenario this. That's all it is. Okay. So let's see what happens here going into our pre-market. Let's see how things change. Right. On the Qs chart, what about Qs, Mike?
Yeah, Q's same thing. We're opening into a big supply here in Q 25,000, which is 606 on the Q. So, I'll be watching that level. Same thing with SPY. If we build above, can look for longs on individuals or, QQQ itself. If we stay below, then, I'll be kind of bearish biased today. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So what Mike is talking about is he's talking about that Friday high again, right? So Friday high 606, you can see in my chart here. Look how important this level is, right? All we've done yesterday was we moved from a demand low, right, which was the 590. What was your demand low on Qs, Mike? What's your big demand?
595 and 600. 600's already kind of been wiped out, though.
Wiped out. Okay, so so basically he's saying this demand low from yesterday's session, right? So 595, 594, that's your big demand that we had from yesterday's session. We basically moved into demand yesterday. I would even argue, like, is this? Could you argue this was a little bit of a wham yesterday? I mean, I didn't even notice this, but look at this. Actually, this is interesting. I love looking at these charts because this is where things become frothy, right? You know how I was showing you guys SPY chart. I was saying, oh, you look, it was a weak candle, but you can't short there, right? Well, if you look at Q's chart, technically this 1035 candle, if I was just watching Q's and said, Brett, take a trade, I would buy puts right now. Right here, I would buy puts. Right? That's what I would do, right? Logically, that's what I would do. You're under a level, you see a nice pin bar off of a level. Hell yeah, I'm going to buy puts here. And so you look at that, it's also, it's actually underneath the Thursday's lows. Look, go to RTH for a second, right? Go to RTH. This is why it's so interesting. See RTH over here, 595.30. This is a break retest of that level. So this is a short right here in Qs. But this is interesting because short here in Qs, but SPY is saying, hey, not quite yet, right? And so that's why you have to watch Qs and SPY. You want any sales pitch to watch Qs or any sales pitch to watch SPY or watch them in tandem. It's because you need to see them move together, right? Because if you see one setup saying this is a long, the other saying it's a short, that's typically when you get a pretty crazy move because you're going to see one of them be right and one of them be wrong, right? You can have people who are longing SPY, people who are shorting SPY because, again, they see this demand hold. So the point they're trying to say here is that Q's actually set up a short yesterday, but obviously it didn't work out, right? Look at this. It ended up reclaiming. And then this reclaim right here, this 1045 reclaim actually turned out to be the best long of the day. Why? Because it was a win-win, right? Broke beneath, reclaimed it, upside move. So that's all I'm saying here, guys, in Q's. Just be careful, big demand below, and then obviously supply above. Where is it? Supply above is where we are right now, 606.50. If we can clear above 606.50, where are we headed to, Mike?
If we break 606, I think 610.
610, right? So he says 610. Yeah. That would be the same idea of SPY because that's that breakdown level from that Thursday session. So I'll add that as well as a level. Okay. Alrighty, so let's dive into some other names today. What's going on here? Brett, are you going live during FOMC? No, it's not. It's not a FOMC session. It's a FOMC minute session. I don't know if you guys know this. I think I say it every time we have FOMC minutes. FOMC minutes is my worst trading day. Historically, my worst trading day is FOMC minutes. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why. So take that as you will. I also find that for other people, that tends to be their worst trading day. It doesn't make any. The thing is, it doesn't make any sense. It's not even big data. It's literally just FOMC minutes is a release of basically notes from a meeting that happened a week ago. Right. That's all it is. All right. So let's go into our charts. Let's go into the IWM. Right. On the IWM, demand maintained, right? Look, there was probably some supply rejections you could have taken yesterday off the opening bell, but it quickly developed into a demand hold, right? And this is why your levels are so important. Look at this. You can see on our Thursday's lows, we came right back into Thursday's lows here. I think Ari was short, and he got out of the short right at demand lows, which was the proper move. Okay. As soon as this demand maintained, this actually turned from a short into a long, and it ended up just V-shaping, just a V-shaped reversal yesterday here on the IWM chart. So what are we going to do today here on the IWM? Well, we are gonna not long back into supply 265. You know that your levels are as follows: a 265 breakout for a long. That's the only thing I'm watching here on this chart. If I were to trade anything here in this chart, this would be my top watch. Okay. Let's go into some equities now, guys. We are ready for equities. I'm going to let Mike pick off the first equity. What's your top watch?
Let's see. We can start with Amazon. That's my top watch.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Amazon, guys, I took this trade yesterday. Obviously, the first entry, I was looking for an opening drive, and it was a Monday, Tuesday, but it was the first day of the week, and I got stopped on the first trade at like 10%, 11%. But then I re-entered on the reclaim of 200 at 10:45, and that trade wound up doing like 25, 30%. And today, I still like this momentum on Amazon. I still like upside. So I'll be looking for longs at one of two places, either at previous day high, the 201.50, or back at that 200 level where I longed yesterday, right? So that's what I'll be watching today on Amazon.
Agree. So my chart is 201 is my level today. I'm looking for a little bit of this type of action. Boom, 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 right? If we can get that little 201 demand hold here, that's what I'll be watching. So I agree with it. Let's see if we can get it to play out this morning. Okay. Besides that, also, I know that we're not expecting this, but it's these trades you don't expect that oftentimes turn into be the reality. And I do believe a 205 reclaim will send us higher too. So 205 as well. I know it's a little bit frothy of a trade here, but if we can get back above 205, I believe that we get sent higher into the highs of that Wednesday session, which is around 209. So let's keep that on the watch as well, right? I'm watching a 205 break. I'm also watching for that 201 pullback long. Okay. All right. The Appler. What about this one chart? This one, Mike. I just called you chart. Jesus.
Yeah, Apple, definitely one of the best long charts of the day. I caught long on this before it even broke 260 at like 10 o'clock. This was a great trade. And it closed really strong as well. So same thing, like if we get the pullback into that same 260 level again today, I'll be watching for longs at the same area I longed yesterday.
260?
Yeah.
Okay. 268 supply as well here. 260 demand. 268 supply. To be honest, that's all I have here on this chart. I don't really see much else. I don't really see much else besides that. Just supply above, demand below. Everything in between here is kind of like boom, 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 which is ups and downs, pretty aggressive trends, right, between 260 and 268. If it can get back above 268, I think this turns into a really nice long. But for now, it's kind of just in between a zone here. So it's anyone's game right now. It's anyone's game. If it pulls it at 272, though, I know this is far-fetched as well, but if we pull it at 272 for whatever reason, I'm shorting it. Okay. I think we'll get at least a few delta reaction off 272. So 272 is a short for me. Why is it also a short? If you do this as well, look at this. I know you're gonna say, what the hell is this guy doing? hold on. What am I doing? First of all, what am I doing? Is this, am I right about this? Yeah, okay. So this is the 268. The 268 is the fib level. So the 268 is that fib level. So that's still a rejection point. 272 is my big supply, but 268 is also supply as well. So basically, supply 1, supply 2, and demand 3. Right. That's what we have for this session. AZ stocks, much appreciated, man. That is very kind of you. Thank you very much. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you very much,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Mike.
Get the likes up.
Mike, that's mine. That's not yours.
No,
I'm just playing. All right, so
you got to put it towards the giveaway.
yeah, no, I will. So let's go over Tesla. Tesla's chart. On the Tesla chart, what is going on here? Basically, 415 level, up and down. That's all it is, right? So you literally you know this is what it is, right? Is there a trade here today session? I don't see one.
415 reclaim is the only thing I would take.
Exactly. I mean, that's your bull bear bias. If we're above 4 and 5, that's our bull thesis. But if we're below 4 and 5, that's our bear thesis. In yesterday's session, that's what we said pre-market. I just don't really see anything of substance here in this chart, right? And you guys know I'll tell you when I see something. I'll tell you when I don't see something. Right now, I just don't see anything here. But we are below 4 and 5, which for me is more short biased. Okay. What about your next one, Mike? Anything else?
Let's see. Kind of already covered the main ones.
Let's do Nvidia.
The problem is a lot of these names are in range. Like Nvidia is in range right now.
It's in range, right? It's in range, but we can at least talk about the levels we have. So our levels on Nvidia, we have our 186 demand, which is, hold on. I mean, just you look at this chart and it's like, yeah, like I have 186 my demand, but yesterday's highs.
186. It's just been so. It's we've abused that 186. We've taken so many trades off of 186. And like this, what I would want to see is a big range break, either above 194. Or we finally, clear out that like 180, 178 and start flowing to the downside. But we need like a serious move on this for me to start trading it again.
Right. I would say this though, if we're above 186, I think that we do make our way towards 194, right? And the question is, can we actually break 194? There was some news that came out this morning. I don't know if you guys actually saw this news. Mike, did you see the news?
On Nvidia?
Yeah. So there was news between Meta and Nvidia, and so you have a little bit of some popper on Nvidia, and Nvidia also had a little bit of some PT upgrades this morning. So look, maybe Nvidia does make a move, right? But for me to get very interested in Nvidia's move. By the way, Meta, thank you very much, and Mr. Garrison, thank you both, much appreciated. You guys are much appreciated. I'll go over those two tickers. I'll go over Meta as well. So on this chart, if we do clear 194, there is a long, right? So let's just understand that it is still a long of 194. But that's what Mike's saying. He's saying basically there's nothing in between here and now. There's no trade, right? But if we can clear 194, which at this point is, how many dollars away is that? $6 away. Then there is a long. Okay, so just keep that on the docket. What about AMD?
AMD 205 would have to reclaim for me to long. And then short, I mean, that's a tough one. Like you could say short under 194. It's just, the low from yesterday, but it's not. I don't really have a big level there. Yeah, I don't have anything on AMD.
Right. I mean, the thing is for me, on AMD's weak, I just don't want to long the chart either. So like, I'll tell you when there's a long, and right now I don't see a long on AMD, but it is still holding demand. So look, contextually, this is kind of similar to what SPY did yesterday, right? SPY just like was weak, but in demand. AMD is weak, but in demand. So we have to see what's going to happen here, right? Does it wake up? Does it start reclaiming levels? For me, I have no interest in going long in AMD unless it can get back above 209, right? If it can get back above, look, if it could show me, hey, this chart can get back above the Friday's highs. If it can get above Friday's highs, then, all right, I see the reasoning to go long on the chart. But if we maintain below Friday's highs, I just don't see a reason to go long. Even if we start bouncing off demand here, demand, I don't see a reason to go long. Now, one thing that Mike said is, hey, the short. I do still, I think this is still really important here, is remember we spoke about the gaps to play with? Well, we have two huge gaps still, right? Remember the big gaps? We have a gap. I'll show you where it is in the hourly chart, just because it's easier to see it here. You can see a gap here, right? And there's also a gap here, right? So we have gaps on both sides either to the upside or to the downside. Here and here. And you know what? I'll make the boxes yellow so you can really see it. Gap 1 and gap 2. Who is right? Like who is going to be right? The chart, if it does start to clear either end of this range, will show us, hey, we're going to move from 290 breaks. We will see 239, right? If 190 breaks, we will see 165, right? But as of right now, it's not breaking the gaps, right? We're just sitting in between two levels, sandwiched in between two levels, okay? So, and again, don't believe me, go to the daily chart. And it's 171 would be your gap fill to the demand loss. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go over Meta. Let's go over Meta as well. So, Mike, this is all you, man.
Meta, I mean, it's been a really weak chart. I do have a level at 630, but it's had, quite a bit of a sell-off since 750, just a month ago, less than a month ago. So I'm not, I wouldn't really be watching shorts at this point. Like, yeah, I guess you could take shorts below 630, but it's just getting into an area that I think they're going to start buying it up. It sold off so much over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. I think that the end of the journey, so this is where your shorts were, right? Your shorts were here. Maybe some trend-based shorts. And I think that the end of the journey is here. This is where the journey begins to end, right? That's an oxymoron. This is where the journey ends, okay? So the journey comes to a close here at these lows. Why am I saying that? Because any shorts that were shorting at 680 are no longer shorting anymore at 610, 612, 615, 620, right? Why? Because they've already made their money, right? They're already, hey, I already made my bills here. So what's the point of shorting anymore close to this demand lows? So yes, 680, it should move here, right? That's the path it's going to. I think the end of the path is here. Is there any more meat in the bone here? There's a little bit left, but it's not much, right? You're eating scraps right now. So for me, I just don't really see much else to trade here. I wouldn't be long here either, though. I would only be looking for shorts as you get closer and closer to this demand. And then once you get to the demand, then we shift our bias down to longs. So I think that the level is 615, but let's see what happens here on this chart. Okay. Okay, let's move on. What about TGT? They said, okay, this is mute the stream for a second, guys. I just want to say, mute the stream for a second because I'm going to say something, okay? Because I know you guys are gonna be annoyed by this, but I have to do it every once in a while because when I first said I'm logging target on the pre-market, right? You guys said you're literally a Muppet. They said you're a Muppet. TGT is going to bankruptcy, right? Everyone's stealing from TGT, and TGT is X, Y, and Z political, right? I don't care about the politics of anything. I just long it or short it. And TGT is nice. I'm fine. I finally hit a huge benchmark this morning. And you may not think it, right? You think, oh, what the hell is he talking? They just released a dividend, right? So they're releasing dividends this morning, a $2 dividend this morning, or not this morning. It was like last week. So this chart's really at 218 118 if you adjust for dividend. So that's what's happening here. But again, beautiful chart. Where is this going to now? In my opinion, this is going into 121, 122, and that's where I think it probably chops around for a while. So this is TGT. And if you wanna hound me a little bit, look at Netflix. Netflix, I'm actually red on still.
Hey, nice trade on TGT, Butterball.
Thank you. See, that's the right attitude, right? That's what we need in the chat. Netflix is a bit weak still, but I'm still maintaining this. Hopefully, this becomes the new target. I don't have the same size yet, but I will begin to develop my size. I think if we pull back to 70, I'm gonna put a lot more size. I think that's the
yes.
That's the only thing. Look at this chart. Look at how important 70 is on TGT, or sorry, on NFLX. So let's see what happens here on this. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, that's where I build my size. Okay, Walmart. Do you see a reversion trade on Walmart? Because I do.
Yeah, man, I definitely see a reversion trade on Walmart. I mean, it's a what 1.1 trillion market cap now.
Yes, it is.
It's just crazy.
It is actually I think it's a little bit over one. It's like a little bit over 1 trillion. The 1 trillion market capitalization level, like what makes a chart 1 trillion market cap is 126 flat. So I do think that I really think that you're going to see this. And you can quote me on this. We'll go back to it and see if my speculation's right here. But I do think that we see a little bit of a trapped up buyer scenario into these highs. I think we do. I think we see a failure to the 1 trillion market cap and see a sell off a little bit. Not saying into like the lower 100s, but I'm saying maybe into like 115, right? 115 type deal. That's where I think happens in this chart. But let's obviously post earnings. Let's see what happens here. But 1 trillion market cap level is 126 on the penny. Okay. All right. So I think we could probably end it there. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks for joining. See you guys on live.
See you guys on live. Have a great session. Bye, guys.